Group South Operation Blau began with the offensive of Army Group South against the troops of the Bryansk Front to the north and against the troops of the Southwestern Front to the south of Voronezh. It involved the 6th and 17th Armies of the Wehrmacht, as well as the 1st and 4th Panzer Armies. Despite a 2-month break in active hostilities, the outcome of this operation was no less catastrophic for the troops of the Bryansk Front than for the battered troops of the Southwestern Front after the May battles. On the very first day of the operation, both Soviet fronts were breached by dozens of kilometers deep, and the enemy rushed towards the Don. The Red Army could only oppose small forces in the vast desert steppes, and then the chaotic withdrawal of forces to the east began. The attempts to re-establish the defense ended in complete failure when German units reached the Soviet defensive positions from the flank. In mid-July, several divisions of the Red Army were encircled in the southern part of the Voronezh region, near the city of Milarovo, in the northern part of the Rostov region. According to the Blau Plan, on June 28, 1942, the 4th Tank Army began its offensive on Voronezh. Fearing encirclements similar to the cauldrons of 1941, the Soviet troops began to retreat rapidly. On July 6, German troops crossed the Don River and captured a large part of Voronezh. Assessing the consequences of the German breakthrough at the Voronezh front, the High Command deciphered the strategic intentions of the German command and ordered on July 6 to withdraw the southern front forces to the line of Denignikovo, Tryokizbenka, Krasny Luch. On the night of July 7, the front troops began an organized retreat. Starting July 8, German forces began to pursue the southern front troops with the 6th Army and the 1st Tank Army. Fierce battles broke out, but the Wehrmacht failed to break through the defenses of the southern front. However, further north, in the southwest front zone, the German attack using a mass of tanks was successful. Attacking the heavily weakened troops of the 28th and 21st Armies, which had also failed to establish any substantial defense after their defeat at the end of June, beginning of July, by the end of July 11, the 6th Field Army and the 4th Tank Army broke through to the rear of the front up to 180 kilometers, reaching the area of Dyodtev and creating a threat to the rear of the southern front. The headquarters of the Southwest Front lost control over the troops. In the following days, the 4th Tank Army reached Morozovsk, July 15, and on July 16, Milarovo. Taking advantage of the dire situation, the attacking German 1st Tank Army from the west finally managed to break through the defenses of the Soviet 37th Army and burst into Kamensk-Shakhtinsky on July 18. Initially, the southern front was tasked with establishing a stable defense around Milarovo, but due to the deep breakthrough of the enemy, orders were given on July 15 to withdraw the troops behind the Don River and create a defense along its southern shore from Verkhnkermoyarskia and further along the line of the Rostov fortified area. Meanwhile, intense fighting continued on the front. The defensive front of the 28th and 57th Armies was cut by the enemy. The troops of these armies fought with exceptional tenacity and avoided encirclement, but part of them retreated to the east, while another part went south. In the area of Milarovo, the 38th and 9th Armies were encircled. The majority of their forces could not break through to the south to join the main forces of the southern front and were forced to break the encirclement to the east. Thus, by July 18 to 20, the northern flank of the southern front was defeated. An attempt to restore it through a counterattack by the previously reserved 24th Army at Milarovo from the south was unsuccessful. The main forces of the army approaching Milarovo came under attack from the main forces of the German 1st Panzer Army and suffered heavy losses. As a result, the German troops broke into operational space. This situation was exploited by them. By Hitler's order, the 4th Tank Army was redirected from the Stalingrad direction to the Rostov direction and rapidly moved towards Rostov-on-Don. On July 21, this army stormed the city of Shakhty, on July 22, Novocherkassk, and on July 23, Rostov-on-Don. On July 24, the enemy completely captured Rostov, and according to reports from the General Staff of the Red Army, by July 27, separate units continued to engage in street fighting in Rostov. After capturing Rostov-on-Don, Hitler transferred the 4th Tank Army from Group A, which was advancing towards the Caucasus, to Group B, aimed east towards the Volga and Stalingrad. The initial offensive of the 6th Army was so successful that Hitler intervened again, ordering the 4th Tank Army to join Army Group South, A. As a result, a huge traffic jam formed when both the 4th and 6th Armies needed several roads in the operational area. Both armies became completely stuck, and the delay turned out to be quite long, slowing down the German advance by 1 week. With the delayed advance, Hitler changed his decision and reassigned the goal of the 4th Tank Army back to the Caucasus.